Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, Nebraskans. Senator Wishart said that very well, and she said it in her way. She's such a talented communicator, so clear, at times so diplomatic in a way that I'm always like striving to be, but really, really struggle with. But she said it right. I, too, am not going to support a map that doesn't reflect our nonpartisan tradition and values, because that's what matters to Nebraskans. And it doesn't matter if you went to a hearing in CD1 or 2 or 3, if you went to Grand Island or Lincoln or Scottsbluff or Omaha or Blair, where I'm from, anywhere in the state. Everyone you talk to is so proud of our nonpartisan tradition here in Nebraska. And the process that this has gone through is not in honoring that culture. And we know that. I love this debate. This is not the stuff that stresses me out that we do. I've been really looking forward to this special session because I'm excited to see all of my colleagues again. I'm excited to use this time to talk about some things we want to do in 2022. I'm excited to be here with all the screens down so I can actually lean over and talk to some of my colleagues behind me and in front of me. And of course, the pandemic is still going on and we're still being careful. We're all getting vaccinated and doing our best to protect each other. But I've really missed the pace, I guess, of being here in the legislature and doing the work here for Nebraskans. And what that is in this redistricting session is the balance of the hard work of getting it done and making sure the maps are fair, balanced with some of the theater of being like, oh, none of this is politically motivated. When we cut Douglas County in half, we had no idea that people would have a problem with that. We're just trying to draw the fairest map. Like, come on, nobody believes that. You don't even believe that. Like, literally don't say that. Among so many reasons that I don't support LB1, I don't support this map because my constituents hate it. My constituents have told me over and over again, please don't let this happen to Douglas County. This makes no sense for our culture, and it makes no sense for Nebraska because there's no reason that this is the way we have to do it. There's a better way. And so why did the redistricting committee last night in a 5-4 vote LB1 out and not LB2, and we can have a debate on both of them? We know that we're going to need to come to a compromise between the two maps. We know that LB1 isn't it. We've got to take up time today so that, folks can get together and talk about what that solution's going to be. And that's part of the work. It's the work, it's the theater, it's everything that makes the legislature fun, but it's really important that we get this done correctly for Nebraskans. And I know that all of us think that. I know everybody agrees with that. I was trying to see the overlay. So LB1 is the congressional map that was drafted by Senator Linehan and others. And LB3 is the legislative map that was drawn by Senator Linehan and others. And so I was looking at, and I'll say this, as a state legislator, I have had a lot of trouble reading these maps. And I know that it's doable, like you gotta get into Google Maps and you can find people on social media and Twitter who have like laid it over Google Maps, then it makes it a lot easier to read. And there's links on the website of the legislature and you can talk to staffers and figure out how to read the map, but it's not easy. And so I understand Nebraskans who have come to my office and said, how do I read this map? What are these streets? Is this a street or a census tract? Everybody's having trouble reading these maps. Anyway, that's all to say, I too am having trouble reading these maps. So my staff helped me put together, if the congressional and legislative maps introduced by Senator Linehan—
1 minute.
Thank you. Pass, my district, which is Midtown Omaha, Dundee, and Benson. If you know Omaha, that's right in the center of town. It's obviously a pretty progressive part of our state, sending me over here. But I thought that my district was going to overlap part of CD1, and that CD1 and CD2 would be split in my district in Midtown Omaha, which makes absolutely no sense. We finally zoom into the map, close enough to see it does not quite split, but it is literally a matter of like 2 or 3 blocks. And in no world does any Omahan think it makes sense to put part of District 8 in CD1, which represents, so many other parts of rural Nebraska. And we love rural Nebraska, but politically and geographically and culturally and community-wise, which is what's most important, not a lot of common with Lincoln, for example. Like, that's not a community of interest. Back to the drawing board. We're going to get it done. Thank you, Mr. President.